Hi guys, it's Tara with Crafting with Curly Cues, and welcome to day 6 of my Handmade Holiday video series. Today we're going to be making this more elegant, simple card using a bunch of die cuts and some heat embossing. So I'm starting with some Neenah Solar White cardstock. I have an A2 card base and then a front panel that's cut slightly smaller than the front of that card. And I am going to start with this really cute stamp set from Simon Says Stamp that came in one of the card kits at the end of last year, and it has all these really fun, big, handwritten sentiments in it. So I'm going to use the one that says Winter Wishes, and I am going to be heat embossing that on the front of my card. So I have taken some Versamark ink here, and I'm going to ink up that stamp really well. And then I am going to realize that I forgot my embossing buddy and make sure I prep the front of my cardstock so that no embossing powder sticks where I don't want it to. And then I'm just going to push really good because that is a thicker, more solid stamp and I want to make sure I get a really good impression. And then I'm going to come in with my Ranger Liquid Platinum embossing powder. And this is a really pretty embossing powder that is kind of a color all its own. It's like a silvery, but not super bright. I mean, it's a really, really pretty color, and I think that it's really elegant, and so it goes really nicely with this more elegant, simple winter card that I'm wanting to make. I did get a little powder where I didn't want it, so I just used a dry paintbrush to go ahead and get that off of there. And then I'm going to show you guys as I heat this up with my heat tool so you can see the really pretty shiny platinum color that this turns when you heat it up. So you can see all that gloss coming on, and I really like this color. It's really unique. It's almost like a pewter. I don't know how to describe it. You should definitely pick some up though. It's a good addition to have to your more classic silvers and golds. So now that I have done that, I am going to take that little snowflake die set by Lawn Fawn, and as you can see, before I started the video, I went to town on some Neenah Solar White, and I just die cut a whole ton of these, and they stuck in the paper because they are more detailed dies, and that worked out well for me because what I'm doing now is taking one set of those snowflakes and squishing my Versamark pad all over the top of it. So I'm just making sure I get all those snowflakes nice and inked up, and then I'm going to come in with that same liquid platinum embossing powder and just dump it all over that whole section of snowflakes. Now you could totally do this if they popped out of your paper, and you could do like one snowflake at a time, and that was actually my plan, but the fact that they stuck in the paper just made it extra easy for me. So either way, there is a good trick that if you put a dryer sheet underneath your paper when you run it through your die cutting machine, it will hold all the dies in the paper, and that would make this easier. So that's another way you could go about it. So then when I pop those out, I get really pretty liquid platinum snowflakes that are going to match the sentiment on my card. I did go ahead and line the edges of this panel with some more Versamark ink, and then I'm just using that liquid platinum embossing powder to go all around the edge and give it almost like a distressed look, only it's going to be with embossing powder. So this is just another way to provide a finished look to your cards and tie in all that embossing so that everything coordinates and matches. So now that my front panel is all embossed and ready to go, I'm going to do some really simple distress inking with my distress inks here. So I have just a couple colors, and I've chosen a really subdued, more elegant color palette for this card. I've got some Victorian Velvet and some Evergreen Bough. So the Victorian Velvet is the one that I'm coming in with here now, and I'm just coming in from that top left corner and coming kind of down, and I want it to be darker in the corner and then fade out to white in the middle. So my inspiration for this card I will share with you guys is Christina Werner over on her blog has a mail call. If you're not familiar with it, it's a really cool thing where every month she has a different category and you can send cards in, and then she does a video where she features some of the cards that people send in to her. And there's a different theme every month, and every month my daughter and I are like, we should totally do mail call because we watch the videos and we're like, oh, it's so fun, and we just never get around to it. Well, this month the theme is white or winter cards. So I'm wanting to keep this really light so that I can hopefully get around to mailing this in to participate in that November mail call. I am going to link in my blog to the mail call blog for Christina, so if you want to participate, hop on over to my blog and you can find that link there. But anyway, that's what I want, a little bit of color on this card, but I want it to mostly be just a nice, elegant winter card. So the Victorian Velvet is kind of a purpley mauve color, and then the Evergreen Bough is a really pretty almost teal green, and I brought it coming up from the bottom right corner, and then they kind of almost meet in the middle, but it stays more white. So it's just kind of a little bit of subtle background color for these really pretty snowflakes, which are more the focal point of the card. So now I'm getting my Tim Holtz craft pick, and I'm just going from the back and I'm popping out some of those snowflakes. The combination of them being a more intricate die and the fact that they're now coated in embossing powder made them not want to come out super easy, but it was no problem, nothing ripped or anything. So then I have one set of every snowflake in the really pretty liquid platinum, and then I've also got a whole ton of snowflakes in just the Nina Solar White, because I did run this through my die cutting machine probably 6 or 7 times. I just kind of found a bunch of scraps of paper and I just started running it through, because I figured even if I don't use them on this card, I mean, it's Christmas time. It's not like I'm not going to use some snowflakes, right? So I figured I'll just keep those for later if I want them. So now I'm taking all those snowflakes and I'm just kind of arranging them on the panel to figure out how many I'm going to need and where I'm going to want them. And then I did grab some of the white ones and I'm going to mix those in with the silver snowflakes just for a little bdie of differentiation and contrast there. I'm kind of trying to make them a little bit thicker up in the corner and then kind of disperse as they come down. I don't know if that really came across or not, but whatever. That was my plan. I think that it doesn't really matter where you put these. I mean, it's just personal preference. You could completely load them up. You could just do a couple around the sentiment, I think would also be really pretty. So however you want, this card is really fun and easy to put together. So now I'm going and I'm taking the same snowflake, and I'm taking 3 or 4 of those, and I am going to then take my Zig glue pen and apply glue all over the top, and I am going to layer these up. So I wanted some dimension on this card with these die cuts, but obviously I'm not going to cut foam tape to go behind these little eensy weensy snowflakes. So what I'm doing is it ended up being 3 pieces of the Nina Solar White and then the silver one on the top for all of the silver snowflakes to add lots of dimension and almost turn them into like little chipboard embellishments. So I'm just taking them, I use the liquid glue, and that way I can kind of pinch and push and squish and make it line up perfectly. I did that, like I said, for all the silver ones, and now I'm just going down with my Zig glue pen and I'm adhering all those snowflakes where I want them to the front of the card. So the silver snowflakes are popping up off the card for some dimension, and then the white snowflakes are flat on the card base to give a little bit of contrast with the texture, not only the color but the texture as well. So now that all those snowflakes are on there, I am getting pretty close to done with this card. I'm telling you, it was pretty simple. If I hadn't decided to add the dimension to those snowflakes, this would have gone really quickly, because that is the part that took the longest, was getting all those little die cuts to line up and be perfect on the front of that card. So next what I'm going to do is come in with a piece of craft foam, and I have cut this down to just be a little bit smaller than my front panel, and I'm just going to go ahead and take some Tombow Mono Multi liquid glue, and I'm going to adhere that craft foam to the back of my panel. So I want this to be popping up off the front of my white card base, and I didn't want to use foam tape because I want to make sure it has plenty of support, so if I were to send it through the mail it wouldn't get all squished and wonky. And so I am using that craft foam, and this is a great way to do that. My craft foam is a little bit thicker than just the regular craft foam. I do buy I think it's like 4mm instead of 2mm. So I mean, it's not huge, but it provides a little bit more dimension than the super flat craft foam, and it also is good for when I do my shaker cards because it has enough room for my shaker bits to wiggle around in there. So I really like this craft foam. I get it like in a 11 by 14 sheet for like 99 cents at like Hobby Lobby. So super easy to find. So now I'm going to glue that whole front panel onto my card base, and I really like the little white border you're going to get there that coordinates in with the stark white snowflakes on the front. And now, of course, you could be done if you wanted to. This is beautiful just the way that it is. But I can't help myself, and I got to bust into my Pretty Pink Posh stash. And what I am using for this card are some of the really cool clear droplets that came out last month. And these are just little, like, I don't know if they're glass or acrylic or plastic or what they are, but they look like little dewdrops. And so I thought that this would be a really fun addition to the snowflakes because it just kind of makes it look not only extra sparkly, but more like there's raindrops mixed in with the snowflakes. I don't know. I just really thought the look was cool. I'm using both the 6mm and the 4mm sizes, And I am just spreading those all over the front of this card until I feel like it fills it out nicely and I like the look of it. And then to adhere these, what I'm going to do is use my tweezers in one hand to kind of pick them up and get them out of the way. And then I'm going to use my Ranger Multimedia mat and just put a little teeny weeny drop underneath and then just squish that clear droplet down on there. This glue dries completely 100% clear, so you don't get any weird gunk behind your clear droplets, and it dries matte, so if it squishes out the bottom, you can't see it on your finished card, which is really awesome, as opposed to like glossy accents, which also wouldn't show through the clear droplet, but it would be super shiny if it squished out the bottom, and you'd definitely notice that it squished out the bottom. So this is my adhesive of choice for these little guys. I think this card turned out really fun. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone. I tend to do more of the cutesy coloring, but I really wanted to try a more elegant card, and the combination of the liquid platinum and these beautiful snowflakes, and it worked out. So here is my Wink of Stella, and I'm just going over all those white snowflakes just to add a little bit of sparkle to the top of those white snowflakes that are on there, adding contrast. I like how subtle they are because the background color is so subtle that the white ones aren't super in your face, so I think that's really pretty. And then this card is all set, so you can see how that sparkles and shines, and you can see in this close-up here that there is lots and lots of dimension behind those silver snowflakes on the front of the card. I really appreciate you guys stopping by today. I am halfway through my video series. I'm hoping to get to 12. So if you like this video, please hit subscribe. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I'm going to list the supplies that I used over at my blog. You can join me on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. And here's a couple other days of my Handmade Holiday series. These are also cards that are a little bit more simple and come together pretty quickly. Thanks, guys. Bye.